make it to recording.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this extraordinary general meeting of Attleborough Town Council, being held this evening, Monday the 27th of October 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Item 1 on the agenda, apologies for absence.
We've got Councillor Middlebrough, Councillor Burrows and Councillor Reynolds.
Okay, thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest, to receive and consider declarations of interest in the terms below and to receive, the items below, and to receive and consider dispensations in respect of disclosable pecuniary interests. Anybody, any takers? No? Okay, thank you. Item 3, public participation. Mr. Arlington.
Stand up and a sit. Is that right?
Say again, sorry?
Oh, firstly, it's good to see you back.
Thank you.
I hope you're on the road to recovery.
I wish.
The last time, well, the first time you and I met, Mayor Westby or Corley Randy,
Yep.
was at a meeting. It was the night that you became mayor. That night I spoke for 5 minutes and I didn't get a response from anybody at this table. The only person that gave me a response and a comment at the end was yourself. And I don't know if you can remember what that comment was.
I can't, to be honest.
I take on board what you said, thank you. I would hope what I'm about to say, every councillor at this table and the people of the general public will take on board what I'm about to say.
Okay.
It is relating to the agenda. Firstly, I would like to address something that probably not many people in this room know about a conversation I had with Mrs. Tracy Turner when she messaged me directly or phoned me directly to have her concerns about the way she was being spoken to online. The thing I did from that moment, she was on Attleborough Nights, her name was taken off. Anything that mentioned her name, her business, was not allowed on that site. So I hope I've addressed that from my side for Mrs. Turner. Moving forward, I had a lot of stories I could tell you tonight about residents in this town, what they perceive as bullying and how they've been bullied. I haven't got time for 20, I'll tell one. It relates to a business owner in the town with a family. His father passed away, and his father suffered from mental health issues. When his father died, the business owner in Attleborough was left some money. That money, he decided the best thing he could do with it was honour his father. So with that, I just go back a bit. I have spoken to him, I can speak on his behalf.
Okay.
Okay? So with that money, he decided what was the best thing to honour his father who had this condition. His thought was, I will start a business and I will employ not the unemployable, people who are disfranchised for work, i.e. people with mental health issues, people with learning difficulties, even ex-criminals, people that struggle to get into work. He had a discussion with someone sat at this table, and comments that were made by the person sat at this table were heard across the square. The reason I had a meeting with him, because I don't like Chinese whispers, because it gets bigger and it gets bigger. You know, he had 2 foot of string. By the time he gets around the town, he was pulling the Titanic with 30 foot of it coming through town. So I asked him directly in a private meeting what was said and how he felt about that. What was said to him was, and I will not swear, I will take the expletives out of it. Someone in this room said, I don't give a about your business, I don't give a about you, and I don't give a about mental health. I sat for an hour and spoke to this gentleman privately. He was not the gentleman I knew. He was a happy-go-lucky guy. This guy was broken. Since then, the business that he has, which I can tell you now is 3 doors from here, when I was speaking to him, he wanted to sell his other business, which is further up the other end of town. You may be getting the gist of who this person is. He was broken. I said, how did it make you feel? He said, I felt alone, I felt intimidated, and I felt lost. I will come back to that word, lost. He said to me, I am going to sell everything in this town and I am going to move on. He only visits this town now probably 4 hours a week. He used to be in his other business every night of the week. So what my point is that one person I see was bullied, and he was bullied out of this town. And I know Councillor Dale has alluded to somebody else seemed to be bullied out of this town. It goes on. The thing is, it seems to be the same cell of people. The 20 stories I could tell you tonight, some of them will break your heart, that I've had in private messages. People post anonymously because they're scared. They're scared of the intimidation, they're scared of backlash, they're scared of a lot of things. But what they all find most difficult is they feel lost. They feel lost in a town, they feel disenfranchised by a town. These 20 people are too scared to speak. The person I am speaking about would not attend here. He used to come to council meetings, he does not anymore. He hardly comes to attend. My question is, Andy, and all I want is a simple yes and no from you. Do you perceive what happened to him as bullying?
Yeah.
And can I ask, I know this is not really allowed in a council meeting, could I see a show of hands, or could you ask your fellow councillors if they could show a show of hands if they perceive that as bullying?
And can I ask a quick question first?
This is public participation. I've got to direct to the chair. I don't actually want to hear what you've got to say. You didn't want to hear what I had to say.
No, my question's to the chairman. Andy, my question to you is, how can you make that determination without speaking to the other person allegedly involved?
The other person on their behalf.
Hang on, or without having witnessed it yourself? Because
his name's Raj Islam. Would you like me to get him on the phone? And he can
I said my determination was on the basis of what I've been told.
There you go. Thank you.
Hearsay.
Hearsay.
Well, it's hearsay.
I'll go back to again. This was heard by a lot of people in this town, and I didn't believe it at the time, which is why I asked him directly.
What Richard has just told me could be a complete work of fiction on the basis of what I've been told. Sorry, let me finish, please. On the basis of what I've been told, whether it's a fiction or fact, that determines my answer.
That you would perceive that.
I don't know whether that's fact or not, but whether that's fact or fiction, that my perception of that is that it's bullying.
Well, maybe next time people on this table go for me, I'll ask that person that question.
And I will come in there, because the person that he is speaking about is myself, and I will own that. And I will own that I had a disagreement with Mr. Islam, and I will own that I did swear, because I did. However, that is not the version, and I'm trying to actually find a message in my long spiel from Mr.
Sorry,
Islam.
can I just stop you, Sam? Hold on. This is public participation. If you want to say it, if you want to use up the public's 10 minutes, which you normally do.
It's not being used up. It's not being used up.
But it is important, because I have
it is important that I've asked that question, because I was asked it by a business owner to ask.
Right.
I'm sorry you disagree with that, Sam, but that is right.
I just told you I swore at him. I did swear at him. I will own that.
Why? Why did you shout and scream in the
I
middle of
wasn't
town?
shouting and screaming. There was two people. There was Mr. Gerald Pearce that was there, and there was Grace from the hideout. Actually, Grace said that I didn't do what you are describing, but you can, and the reporter can go and speak to Grace. It was a private matter. Me and Mr. Islam were friends. I will tell you all what happened. He came to my business at 8 o'clock on a Friday evening, wanting some help launching his business. I was the only member of staff working. My husband, a firefighter, had just returned home from a shower and required a shower because, you know, often he comes home quite dirty. It was my granddaughter's third birthday. I was the only person working. I had a musician playing. I addressed Mr. Islam. I even bought him a drink. I tried to have the conversation that he wanted to have, and I couldn't. So actually I addressed him to Taylor, who went into the side room for half an hour on her daughter's birthday and discussed what he wanted doing. The next thing I know, apparently I've been disrespectful to him. So when I was entering this building one day, the day that he was going around town telling everyone I'd been disrespectful to him, and he was a 50-year-old businessman and didn't take disrespect, I tried to address the matter with him as he's going past. And if I could find the message that he sent Mr. Broom to apologise to me on his behalf, but I can't find it, I will share that message with you.
Martin Broom.
Because that comes, yeah, he sent it to Martin Broom because Martin Broom are quite close friends, and he goes to Martin Broom's house once a week, brings him cakes back from London. Quite
Well, maybe Martin could ask him the question why he doesn't come to Attleborough anymore.
So, but I can't find it, but I will find it. So anyway, as I was trying to get in here to help set up the book sale, he came out of the shack, and I said to him, Marge, please don't scurry past me when you've been running around town all day, slagging me off to anyone that listens. And he went, you disrespected me. And there was a heated discussion. I said to him, we've been friends for nearly 30 years. Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? We've been friends. When you had an issue with your licence at Carbrook, I asked what the delay was on your behalf. I helped you with all of that. Whereas you disrespected me. He was very much the fact that he wouldn't get up that I disrespected him. And I said to him, no, I was busy. It was a Friday night at 8 o'clock. And if I come to the Rose of India at 8 o'clock on Friday night, he was the only person taking orders, delivering curries, taking phone orders for takeaways, waiting tables, being barman.
So why did you make the three comments to him that were heard in the square?
Those three comments never happened. I will tell you what I said to him. If you want disrespect, I'll give it to you. You're a short, fat, there's disrespect. That is what I said.
I think we got the gist of it, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Not the mental health, because having a child...
I know exactly what you're saying. This is why I did not
Do
believe
you seriously think
exactly why I
my
didn't
charity is money for a mental health charity?
Thank you.
I think if anyone is disrespectful, I'll find the message, him apologising to me, and I will show you when you leave.
And the other 20? Have you got all their...
No, I've been a publican for 20 years. Of course I'm going to upset.
I think we've had enough, thank you.
This is supposed to be public participation, so can we add the minutes that the council has taken to add to public, because it is public participation. Sorry, Sam, but
yeah, it is public participation, Vera.
Right, can we move on, please? I think we've both heard both sides of the story. I think we can make our own decisions. Yeah, next, please.
I just would like some clarification regarding, it's not to do with the meeting, I apologise, but...
Yeah, can we deal with that next week then, please?
I can't be here next week and I want an answer for my business, if that's okay.
It's not on the agenda.
It's regarding the Christmas Carnival and the Queen's...
Yeah, it's not, we're only dealing with... You can email the question in.
I've emailed in and I've not heard. I've emailed
Can you email me?
I haven't got your email address, but yes.
Well,
All I want to know, is it true that the rumours are that the Queen Square car park is being closed on the Saturday? Why can't you answer that?
Who did you email?
I've emailed the office.
What, inquiries?
Yeah. Simple yes or no.
When
Is Queen Square
when
car
did you
park
email?
being
'Cause I
closed?
haven't
About a
received
month
anything.
ago. It's a simple yes or no question as a business
Can anybody
owner.
finish that answer quickly?
You're not prepared to answer that?
Yeah, I mean,
As a business owner,
The thing
I'd like
is,
to
we're
know
going
the
to
answer to that question, and if it is being closed, with what regard has been taken to the businesses that trade on a Saturday, that rely on footfall coming into the town to be able to park?
it might not be closed entirely, but it hasn't been worked out yet. We're now working on it.
Well, if it's being closed, we need to know,
it's
as
not
businesses.
it may not be closed fully, but we're still working on it.
Well, I think you probably know if it's closed
I don't
or not closed,
know.
because you have to put in for the application to close or not close it.
The
So the
app-
application would have gone in by now, because it's less than a month away.
the licence has gone in, but the plan has not.
Right, so you can't say to me at the moment if that town car park that is good for the trade of this town is going to be closed or not closed. Or you're not prepared to answer that.
I am prepared to answer it, and I have just answered it.
No, you haven't given me a definitive yes or no.
I've said, no, I can't at the moment. So if I can't give you an answer, I'm sorry, I can't give you an answer.
Can we deal with that
But that isn't on the agenda, so
Well, irrespective of that, can we deal with that next week when we
I'd
do?
just like to know what forethought has been given to businesses who are struggling as it is on the high street at the moment with regards
It's a
to
valid
how they are
point.
going to get customers.
It's a very valid
in the
point. It's a very valid
Because
point.
no forethought has been given.
well, I understand that on a Sunday,
Sunday doesn't
Some
happen
businesses
because
do
the whole
open.
town gets closed off and we're used to that and
Yeah.
businesses
So-
thrive. As a business owner myself, I don't open on a
so
Sunday.
the businesses that do open on a Sunday,
They thrive and you know they thrive. How many people come into the town?
yeah.
You
So
are
they'll have the opportunity
penalising-
to thrive on the Saturday because the car park is usually closed
It's
on
not
Sunday.
closed on a Saturday.
On
Can we
Sunday.
move on, please? Sorry,
And
but
you just wonder why we've got no face at the town council. There you go, you've just answered that.
I haven't answered. They don't know. They don't know yet because I'm still arranging.
I don't
it.
know.
I don't
Nobody
know.
knows.
And this is the point, you're less than a month away, you should know,
Well, we don't.
you should.
Well, don't put that on Facebook then.
Pardon?
Any more, please? Yes, please, gentlemen at the back.
Okay. Right, at this EGM that we had to deal with the convicted vandal, there was a discussion at the end where everybody was peace and love and come by art and we were all going to try and move forward. And we all agreed we were going to do that. But it seems that only half the council actually got that email. I'd like to know when they're going to start actually participating in this. And also, I've noticed that code and conduct and the Nolan principles, no one's given a shit about for 5 months. Why are we suddenly here because someone's offended by hurty words? Thank you.
Anybody else, please?
Anyone with an answer?
No, you can't get an answer for a car park, so you're not going to get an answer for that.
We all know the answer.
Chairman, Peter Neal. I'm wondering if we spoke about this evening that the clerk spoke about it's not on the agenda, so it's not discussion wise as it's not on the agenda tonight. Can it go to another night? Could you not revisit the standing orders so that items that the members of the public, people of this town, believe are important can be spoken about, discussed,
We certainly could do that.
put forward at any meeting within the public participation
We
section.
certainly could do that for the standard council meetings, yes, but this is a specific extra EGM, so that's slightly different. But yeah, I take on board.
Could that then be looked upon for the the monthly meeting?
I don't see why not.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
I can put it on the standing orders
Yeah,
for review.
yeah. Right. Moving on to item 4 then. The motion proposed by Councillor T. Taylor and seconded by Councillor G. Dalton is for the safeguarding of council employees from online bullying and harassment. That this council resolves 1. To reaffirm its duty of care as an employer under Health and Safety at Work Act 1974 and associated legislation, ensuring that all employees are protected from bullying, harassment or intimidation, including that which occurs online or through social media. Item 2, to take all reasonable and proportionate steps to safeguard employees from online abuse, including reviewing and strengthening relevant policies such as social media policy, staff protection policy or dignity at work policy. Providing appropriate guidance and support to staff who experience online bullying or harassment, and referring any serious incidents to the relevant authorities or platform administrators as necessary. Item 3, to ensure councillors and staff are reminded of expected standards of conduct and communication in line with the council's adopted code of conduct and the Nolan principles of public life. And item 4, that the town clerk be instructed to report back to the council within 2 months with recommendations or an action plan to implement the above. Anybody got the comments?
Sorry, I'm going to be right out of this because I don't do social media, and if everybody else did, we wouldn't be sitting here now.
Exactly.
But I want to ask, what is a platform administrator? It says here, relevant authorities or platform administrator. Who is that? People that run the site, or?
I'm guessing so, yeah.
Well, there won't be a councillor that's a platform administrator, will there? Will there? Are any councillors?
Administrators, are any councillors administrators on the site?
Yeah.
I don't know, is anyone a platform administrator?
None that I know of, but I think
Sorry?
they can be.
They can be. No, I'm asking, is any councillor a platform administrator?
No.
So fine, that's all I needed to know, and then, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else got any comments?
Not under their own identity anyway.
Sorry?
Not under their own identity anyway.
Not under their own identity, okay.
So that's a false statement.
Well, there is so many
That's
written
fine.
about
Fine,
it,
I'm
you
just,
wouldn't know, would
yeah, I'm
you?
just clarifying, yeah, thank you, councillor, that's fine.
Anybody else got any comments? Well, I'd like to throw into the hat. Oh, Councillor Adams.
Yeah, I'm just wondering here, it says here that we need to take steps to safeguard employees from online abuse. How can we actually stop people making comments online? Are we a police force or something we've suddenly become? I can't understand how I'm going to stop somebody putting something on Facebook that is detrimental to the council or our employees. How do I do it, please?
Freedom of speech.
It is freedom of speech, yeah, but
You can't.
Councillor Allen.
Yeah,
sorry.
we all sit here as elected representatives, so why would I want to silence anyone who wants to comment on our work on this council? If people want to slag me off on Facebook, go for it. I represent the people. If they've got a problem with that, I want to hear about it. I don't care. I've got nothing to hide. I'll be scrutinised. I don't care.
From my point of view is, we conduct here a business meeting. We conduct it in a civil manner, or we should do,
Yes.
in a civil manner. We're polite to each other. We deal with things in a workmanlike manner. We don't conduct business on Facebook. We conduct it face to face and treat people with respect. I worked in the construction industry for nearly 40 years, and I've never, ever, ever in that time been in a meeting that is so shambolic as some of these meetings are. And it's got to stop.
Can I ask on that one then, why is it shambolic? We make it shambolic, it's not something that, it comes in with the wind. It's our attitudes. And if our attitudes are such that the meeting becomes somewhat shambolic, as I say, who's to blame for that except ourselves?
Well, exactly. But we've not got to be afraid of scrutiny. We've not got to be afraid of being challenged. But it's got to be done in the correct manner and in a polite, business-like manner.
If I may, so I feel like this motion has been perceived really controversially. That's not the intention. The intention is to reaffirm our legal responsibilities as an employer, and we have a few around this table that are employers, so should fully understand, or have been, so should understand that implementation. This isn't about councillors, so scrutiny of councillors is one thing, and actually our employees should also be scrutinised, and there are mechanisms in place and processes to do that. Now, this isn't about a particular member of staff, this is a broad brush covering all of our employees as an employer, but actually, for instance, Sharon, our clerk, she might do something that a member at this table disagrees with. She might also do something that a member of the public disagrees with. There are processes in place to raise a complaint about an employee if anyone feels that their conduct is unbecoming, or if they've done something that is not right and proper. But actually, to ridicule someone, to make cartoon depictions of that person and to post them online as a frowny clown, that crosses a line that I don't think any councillor at this table should be comfortable with being crossed. I think that it's one thing to say there's a level of accountability, but I think what maybe Councillor Allen's forgetting is you might be happy to take that kind of, I'm going to refer to it as bullying online, but actually you're an employer now and you have a responsibility and a duty of care to your employees. And that is what this is about. It's not about councillors, it's about members of staff that we have a legal responsibility to. And all I want to do is reaffirm that we understand that responsibility and that we're going to meet it.
That's right.
I do condemn all online bullying. Do you think me signing this is going to make any difference? Because I'm not doing it. So if I say I'm not doing it and sign that, is that going to stop the public? Because I do condemn it. But we all know it's wrong. We all know it's wrong. So is it going to stop?
If I may, Andy.
Yeah.
So there's two parts here. So the first motion, point 4, going back to what Councillor Adams said about, what can actually be done. Point 4 of the motion is actually for Sharon to go away and actually review that, and it may well be that she seeks advice from Brecon Council or Norfolk Parish Training Support or Norfolk NAUC or Norfolk Constabulary or anyone. But she will come back in 2 months and actually say, well, actually, this is some of the things that you could do to do just that. So this is giving her the scope, acknowledging these responsibilities and giving her the scope to do that, which I really don't think is that controversial. I think it is actually the bare minimum. And then the second motion, obviously at the moment we're on the first motion, but the second motion, if you want to take the two items together, the statement, it's not that we sign it and it's a magic wand and it makes it go away, but it does tell all of the sensible people in our community that we do not support this type of behaviour, and actually we find it unacceptable.
Could I just say, obviously this is speaking about me a lot, this, I'm imagining. Can I just go back to what I said right at the beginning of what I said? Tracy Turner picked the phone up and spoke to me personally. That stopped. I'm sure if Sharon or you or you or you or you have a problem, you've got my number, pick it up and say, I don't like what's going on, bang, it ended.
They shouldn't have to, though.
No, they shouldn't.
Not just
No, you're right, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But when you've got, like I said, 20 people have all got a story.
Can we continue the business,
Yeah,
please?
sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Allen, again, getting you mixed up.
Did you have your hand up? Did you have your hand up?
I will do now, no, you go first.
I just want to know, just a question to Councillor T. Taylor and Councillor Zolt. What happened to the third motion?
Oh, I can tell you.
Okay.
The third motion, actually, it's probably easier if I just refer to the email that I sent last week. Bear with me. So, as you will be aware, and so will Facebook because it was published there, yourself and Councillor Bircham put forward a request for an EGM to talk about things that, for the most part, the Town Council has no jurisdiction over. The Business Awards, no jurisdiction. The Chambers, not really any jurisdiction. And what was the third thing? There was something else. Oh, the Christmas market. That was the only one that really made any sense. But since then, that motion, or the request for the EGM and the motions, although they were never actually presented, were withdrawn. So there was an email, quite a lengthy one, from Councillor Bircham, obviously explaining why he wished to withdraw them, because he'd now seen sense that we needed to, stop squabbling, move on. Which actually I've been saying for months, so actually that was really refreshing that, it was actually coming from the other side of the table. At that point,
sides. We shouldn't have sides. We should be one united group.
But we're not silly. I'm not disagreeing. But that is the way it has been. And the public are not stupid, they're fully aware of it, they've seen it. And actually, the seating arrangements tonight, we're pretty much back there again. So, the fact is, this email come forward I'll read them both. I'll read both emails in full, shall I?
No, not really.
No. If people want to hear them, they could be FOI'd.
Yeah.
Because
Well, you've asked a question, right?
Yeah, I've asked a question.
Well, that would
They
explain,
are
that would
private
give the
emails.
answer.
But my point is,
That would give the answer.
if you truly believe that myself and Councillor Adams had done something wrong, we'll serve with conviction. So why was it removed from the agenda for this EGM? Is it because we actually haven't done anything?
No, I will say I've been quite displeased with your conduct and the way that you've actually presented yourself. I do think, and I will say, that there has been times that I have found, particularly Councillor Adams, to be lacking in respect towards our staff, towards members of the public, and towards other councillors, in emails, in writing, on Facebook, online.
So what emails have I sent that have
That's
been
not on the
disrespectful?
agenda this evening. That is not on the agenda.
What's going to be on the
You're
agenda?
accusing me of something here. I want to know what I've done wrong.
I've just
I didn't actually state, I didn't actually mention anybody. Excuse me, am I talking or are you talking?
Please, can you not shout at me?
The
No,
motion's
will you
been,
please listen to me?
sorry, the motion's been taken off.
I don't, yeah, I'm not saying the motion hasn't been taken off.
We're not
I'm
considering
just
it.
asking the question. I've just been accused of being disrespectful
I
to members
said
of the public,
I
to members of
found
staff,
your conduct
to members of the
disrespectful.
council. I'm just asking who am I being disrespectful to, and on what posting or what email are you referring? Because I don't know of one.
There was an email where you were particularly disrespectful, I felt, to Councillor Fraser. I thought that your post...
So my email to
Hang on,
Councillor
can you
Fraser was
don't interrupt
to
me,
ask him.
please? I
One at a
won't
time,
entertain
please.
your questions if you're going to interrupt me when I try and give an answer.
Well,
I thought you were disrespectful to David Booth as a resident online, and in public meetings you have, unfairly, when you've not understood council finance, criticised the staff. And that is just my perception. I withdrew that motion to show goodwill, and on the condition that, on the understanding that, your conduct would improve. If your conduct's not going to improve, then I would actually personally make a standards complaint if the council didn't support one. But I was led to believe that actually your conduct would improve, and then we could perhaps draw a line under it. Maybe we can't.
Councillor Adams.
So what you're saying then is I've got to improve. I actually spoke to, or I sent an email to Councillor Fraser telling him he should apologise to the town for the vandalism that he undertook. And he didn't want to do it. That's not being disrespectful, that's being truthful. Would you let me finish now? Thank you. You've had your say. I also put a post on Facebook regarding the car parks. I did not mention one single councillor or council employee in that. So how can that be disrespectful? Where am I being disrespectful? Please, I'm willing to, I'd love to know, because frankly speaking, I can't see that anything I've done has been disrespectful.
Can we move on, please? Because it's not on the agenda.
Somebody else the trailer sends Councillor Adams what she feels affected
Yeah, absolutely.
by. And we can move on, because you know, we was here for hopefully a half an hour meeting, we spent 15-20 minutes on budget.
2 hours, apparently. 2 hours.
2 hours. Not for 2 items.
Can we move on, please?
Apparently so.
What it says here.
That's because that's the standard.
Anybody?
Well, there you go.
Just, before we move on, can we please get out of the playground?
Absolutely.
We sit round here, we're supposed to be grown-ups, we're supposed to be adults, we're supposed to be conducting this town's future, and all we're doing is arguing among ourselves. It's absolutely idiotic. I'm sorry,
No, you're
Chairman, I really am sorry.
You're absolutely right.
But I wonder why I'm sitting here, I really do.
And do you know what? I agree wholeheartedly with that.
Voice across for your employees, you're not making a very good go of it, are you?
Yeah, come on.
The fact is, I actually agree wholeheartedly with what Councillor Dale's just said, and I actually withdrew that motion in goodwill, in the basis that actually we would draw a line and not have this kind of play out in public. And I'm actually really sad, Jacob, that you felt that you needed to bring it up tonight and actually not ask me privately.
I was offended that you felt the need to mention that motion in the first place, because I don't feel I've done anything wrong. I posted one thing on social media. Sorry, Andy, I'll be very quick.
You don't even know what the context was, because I've
Right,
told you.
I have only posted one thing on social media since I've sat at this table, and that was in the interest of openness and transparency.
Right, can we move on, please? Can we move on? Anybody got anything else to add in respect of motion 1? No, okay.
Can I just ask, where has this all come from? Because obviously the umbrella of online bullying harassment is great, but I think some of us are a bit confused as to where it's actually come from. Could we just have a bit more clarity on that?
Yes,
I think you'll be aware that there's been internal emails that have related to some of this, either from members of the public emailing in to the council making representations about the current climate. I think you'll know that there are certain members of staff that are displeased with it, without naming names or going into details, because obviously this is a public meeting and that's staffing matters. As someone that's on the personnel committee, I would expect you to understand that.
Patronising, stop being so patronising, it's boring.
Can you not interrupt this meeting, please?
Stop being patronising. Stop it.
Andy,
and
would you like to bring this meeting to some order?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think that actually we shouldn't need to be asked to do these things. As I said, I consider this the bare minimum, and I think we should be doing it anyway. So, if we may, can I please make the proposal?
Yep.
That the council resolves items 1 through 4 in regard to motion 1, and take it to a vote, please.
Councillor Dalton, second that.
Can I have a recorded vote as well, please?
Yep, recorded vote, please.
Yes, someone check with Councillor Dale.
Just wait for Councillor Dale to get back.
Well, we shouldn't be voting on any motions until Councillor Dale returns.
No, fine.
Check she's okay, please.
Yeah, someone's gone out.
No, she's gone out.
She's gone out.
Yes.
Oh, our bags still
Sorry, but I needed some fresh air.
Yeah, well,
Apologies.
Right, we're voting on the proposal that Councillor T. Taylor has put forward and seconded by Councillor Dalton, and we're going to record the outcome. All those in favour, please.
Five, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All those against?
3 against. 3. I've got that right, haven't I?
I'm abstaining.
I'm abstaining.
You're
And the abstentions, hands up.
4.
Abstention 4.
Yes, when we discuss it.
That equals 12, so that's. So the motion is carried.
Motion carried then. Right, motion 2, again proposed by Councillor T. Taylor and seconded by Councillor G. Dalton. Approval of Councillor's statement, condemnation of online bullying and harassment. That this council resolves 1, to endorse the statement entitled Condemnation of Online Bullying and Harassment, outlining the council's collective position. 2, authorises the statement to be undersigned by all 15 councillors. And 3, approves the public release of the statement following signature by the undersigned councillors. The statement goes on to say, Attleborough Town Council strongly condemns the ongoing online bullying, harassment and intimidation directed towards members of our community, including paid employees, elected councillors, local residents and businesses. For several months, certain individuals have been subjected to persistent and targeted online attacks, This behaviour is entirely unacceptable and is having a damaging impact not only on those directly affected, but on the wider community as a whole. The Council recognises that freedom of expression is a cornerstone of democracy. However, this does not extend to personal abuse, harassment or the spreading of misinformation intended to cause harm or distress. Such actions undermine community cohesion, deter civic participation and erode public trust. Attleborough Town Council has a duty of care to safeguard its employees and an obligation to uphold standards of civility and respect among all who serve or engage with the Council. We will continue to work with the relevant authorities and partner organisations to address these concerns and to promote a safe, respectful and inclusive environment for everyone in our town. We urge all members of the public to engage constructively, treat one another with kindness and respect, and help restore a positive and supportive tone to local discussion and debate. Any comments? Yes, please.
Can I ask who wrote this statement, please?
Is that okay?
No, that's fine. I just want to know because it doesn't say.
Okay.
In the interest of openness and transparency. Thank you.
But I second it.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Can I ask again a simple question, really? Can I ask you, what good is that me signing this paper going to do with regard to stopping people carrying out these harassments and defamation of character and all the rest of it that apparently goes on social media? Am I going to be able to stop it? No, I'm not. Is anybody sitting on this table going to be able to stop what's happening on these Facebook sites? I throw the question over.
I think we collectively stop it by our behaviour.
Well, but how can we? I mean, we can say what we like in this room. We can say what we like. You know, we think that everybody in the town should be without fault, and that people have got to stop. You public people have got to stop doing this thing on Facebook. I'm sure they're going to listen to me, aren't they? No, they're not.
Well, they're not. No, you can't.
Exactly.
You can't control it. But
Exactly, we can't control it. So what's the point in me signing a piece of paper saying that we should do it? Because it's not going to happen.
It sends out a message, though, doesn't it?
The message we need to send out is we need to start working together.
Exactly.
Not
Exactly.
working
Exactly.
for our individual, whatever reasons we've got.
My point exactly.
That's the only way we're going to stop it.
Councillor Adams, Alan.
I think the only way you'll stop it is if every councillor resigns and seeks re-election, and I think that goes for Brett Walmsley.
No matter what they're saying, as good employers, we are supposed to look after our staff.
Oh, yeah.
And this statement is addressing that.
Yeah.
And it's putting it there in the public domain so that people are aware that us as a council, and if you're not willing to understand that, then you should step down.
You could
If you're not
save
willing to
yourself
be
a
good
whole
employer.
meeting tonight. All you have to do is pick the phone up to me with all your concerns, and I can address that side. You didn't need to waste all these people's time and your time.
Yes,
If I may, I take your point about us all working together, and actually, in the last 7 days, in the last week, Councillor Bircham has sent an email to that effect, wanting to do that. And I responded to that email saying that yes, I want to do that too. And that the items on this agenda tonight, with the withdrawal of that motion brought up earlier, was not to any detriment of any councillor sat at this table. And actually, I perceive that in us, all 15 of us, collectively signing this, that shows a united front. That is us working together. That does bring us all to a cause that we can all get behind, and that is that actually we want community cohesion, that we don't want this nastiness, that actually we don't support it, that we want what's best for all of us, our staff, the community, our residents, our businesses, because this goes beyond the council. This is affecting the whole town. And what we're trying to say is we don't want it.
Together,
and this is
nothing's
working
gonna
together.
happen.
That's
See,
what I'm
all that this has gone
proposing.
on, this high street is dying.
And what I'm
We are a
proposing-
joke. All of this is affecting the football in this town.
And what I'm proposing.
We've got every right.
Sorry,
to
it's
do
not,
that.
not, we've got public, we've got public participation again in a minute.
And what my point is this is a statement signed by all 15 of us. That is us working together. That's
It's not
a
us working
collective.
together though, is it?
Well, it is.
We've got
isn't
to.
it?
We're not working together now. So how can me signing this piece of paper
Well, if you
say
support
to
the
everybody
motion,
else
which
in the
means-
town that yes, we're all working together? They're not going to see that. Are we going to publish this on all the notice boards?
Yeah.
Are we going to actually put it in the
Publish it,
papers?
yes. It
Are we going
says
to put it
that
online?
Yeah.
Because that's what we need to do to actually
Well,
show
that's
if we're going to be together.
that's the
Frankly
intention.
speaking,
That's the
I just don't think it's worth the paper it's written on, frankly.
We've just witnessed people making accusations against each other on that table. So how can it work together?
Can we finish our business?
Yeah,
I've promised that
Councillor Taylor.
will happen when we finish
Yeah,
our
yeah.
business. I actually don't think that council business is suffering. We're still working. Meetings may not be coherent, but actual council's business is still being progressed. We're still voting on stuff. We're still delivering projects. Councillor Allen called for us all to resign this evening, and actually he did it a few weeks ago. And there was a few of us on a hand-wrote letter that signed our resignation. And actually I checked. That would have been accepted.
Why was he snatched back out of his hand then?
Because he refused to sign it, because it wasn't
why
an
did you have to
official
write for one side of
document,
the table?
because he wanted
That's
it
completely
printed,
disrespectful.
not handwritten. But it could have been wrote on toilet paper and it would have been an official letter, had we all have signed it, which some of us did sign, you refused.
Why don't we get an official letter written then?
That was an official letter. That
let's
was an
get the
official
sign
letter,
properly.
you refused to sign it. So please, stop showboating, let's just get on, let's showboat.
Come on, please.
Right, can I just
Let's
propose
look.
something?
Councillor decisions next. You just dump
Thank you. Personally, I just feel very uncomfortable signing anything about this because the standards, even around this table, I think the public can agree, don't show civility and respect amongst our own members. So I'm afraid I won't be signing that.
Councillor Dale.
As again, I'll show my ignorance, but I'm going to ask a question. How many councillors actually write things on here? How many of them make comments on here? So how many councillors are actually fanning the flames for the public to come back at them?
Do you want me to answer that?
Can I ask that?
Our admin is met a champion. None of you know that. His access to Facebook is ridiculous. He sees anonymous people. There was an ex-councillor who made a comment that we deemed as racial. It was messaged and that comment was taken down and he apologised. So yes, we do know what councillors comment. We don't publicly say it,
No.
but we know.
But there are councillors.
There are councillors, trust me.
Thank you. Well, that's a waste of time then. The councillors wouldn't know that that's a waste of time.
Can I just ask on that point? I mean, how many councillors actually put stuff on Facebook then anonymously?
No.
Not anonymously and not in my name.
So everybody that's around this table,
abhorrent.
If they put a comment on Facebook, can own up to it. I mean, I put a couple of comments on Facebook, and I don't see that there's anything disrespectful in what I put on there. All I said was that we're looking at purchasing a car park, you know, because we are, and I think the public have got every right to know we're purchasing a car park. The fact that we've done it without knowing the costs, without knowing the maintenance costs,
We're not talking
or anything like that. No, just saying.
No, that's
I'm talking about the Facebook post that I put on there.
Okay,
If that's so wrong of me to do that, then please tell me and I'll stop doing it. But I'll hear it from the public because they're the people that I talk to.
It's been mooted previously that we should have a Facebook forum.
Yes.
An official council page, and I think that's a really good idea. And we don't post as individual councillors, we post collectively as a council.
But we don't post anything at all at the moment.
Well,
haven't done. I don't know.
to stop individual councillors posting and acting on their own volition.
It saves everybody time, Andy. It saves all of you time.
It does.
Public participation. You've already answered the questions they want to ask of that week. You've all had an input.
Yeah.
You know, it's simple.
No, I think that's a really good
Put
idea.
that on an agenda, Andy.
I know, but I'm just
But
throwing it
obviously
out
it would
there.
have to then all be monitored from the staff, and then Sharon would have to evaluate
Yeah.
the staffing times.
Councillor Allen.
To move this on, I'll also say I will not be signing anything in any attempt to silence the public that we represent.
No, I mean, I think I'm right in saying there's no intention to silence the public. We'll represent members of the public. We'll all bear scrutiny. The staff bear scrutiny from us. Yeah, I don't think there's any intention to silence anybody, but it's got to be done respectfully.
Agreed. I agree with that.
I mean, when all's said and done, we put ourselves up, we volunteer to do this, and I think that's something that needs to be stressed, that none of us get paid to do this. We all give our time freely. There's obviously the staff get paid, but you know,
There's an old age
personally,
earn respect, you have to earn respect.
absolutely, I agree 100%.
Can you all honestly sit there and say you are owning the residents' respect?
No.
No.
So why should we respect what you want? You're saying us to respect.
Which is what I said earlier. Which is what I said earlier.
Until you lot get your heads out of your arses and work together,
Okay.
it's never going to work.
Public participation.
Yeah. Right. So, on the basis that the motion is proposed by Councillor T. Taylor and seconded by Councillor G. Dalton, all those in favour, please.
Sharon, can I have a recorded vote?
Record the vote again. Yeah.
Yeah. So all those for? Yeah. Right,
All those
okay.
against?
So we have thank you.
And abstentions?
So that will be
3.
yeah. So there's 5 voting for, 4 voting against, and 3 abstentions. So the motion is carried.
No. I agree.
Okay.
Although I don't agree with this, I do wholeheartedly agree that we have a duty of care to all staff, including Sharon, the other office staff and the groundsman. That is our role as employee.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that we must carry through. How we can do it through Facebook, I don't think we can, but we can support staff in other ways. And Sharon's been asked to have a look and see how we can support through Facebook. But as I've said, I don't do it. But Sharon did show me something that wasn't very pleasant, for her, which isn't nice.
It's got to stop.
But we do have a duty of care, and that we all need to be aware of.
As I said earlier, respect to gain respect, you've got to earn it.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any comments?
Yeah,
One
just
more.
quickly. Can I ask, if this is to be signed by all 15 councillors, why we're allowed to vote on it when councillors aren't present? Because we are, I know, I get you have absences, fine, but we can't sign something on their behalf, can we?
No.
So if they're not present, we can't sign that.
Well,
I can't sign for Councillor Littlebrook, Councillor Burrows,
no,
Councillor
but they
Randall,
have to
can I?
respect the decision in their absence. Because, like, if you decided to purchase a piece of equipment and they weren't present, they wouldn't come back and say, right, I wasn't here to vote, so I'm
But
not
this
happy
is
about
to be undersigned by all 15. So we're actually saying,
Yeah, you
sorry,
have,
Councillor Burrows, I've just put that name,
Yeah.
your name on there. for
You have, yes. You have. That's democracy.
No, that's not. I don't.
I'm afraid it is.
Can't vote for that.
That's what I mean about respect,
Yeah.
Chairman.
Moving on, please. Item 5, public participation again. Any takers? Yes, please.
Yeah, we've mentioned a couple of times at previous meetings about the council en bloc resigning. It can't be enjoyable for either side of this to be carrying out their duties. I do wonder what's in it for people to dig their heels in and not go back to the public for a decision. So Sam mentioned, I think she publicly said that she would happily.
I signed one.
Yep. I remember that clearly. You said, I think, that there's other individuals who weren't prepared to do that. Could anyone around the table now just confirm whether they're not prepared to leave on block and have a new election? Is there anybody that won't do that?
Me. I don't see why I should resign. I work damn hard, I attend meetings, and there's a year to go, and you want to put the town to more expense and everything else when we need money to move the town forward and do things, so no, I'm not.
We're just banging heads at the moment, going nowhere. And it's a little bit disappointing when some really important votes are taking place and people are saying, I don't agree with this, and then abstaining.
Yes, and I abstain.
A very strange way to...
I abstain because I don't do Facebook and I don't understand all the ins and outs, and I only vote for things I understand.
Okay, fair enough. Is there anybody else that's not prepared to stand on block for re-election? Anybody else? It's just Vera.
We're all going for re-election.
So everybody else would be happy to stand down, yeah? Well, that perhaps speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Mr. Arlington.
Yeah, it was a quick one, just to sort of get into where the arguments happen and why they occur online. It still beggars belief with me. The Chambers is a good thing. What I find very difficult to get my head round is the first day it opened, it was on the same day as the Kindness Cabin. Am I correct?
No. Yes. The Kindness Cabin or the Kindness Caf?
Kindness Cabin. Yeah, there's other. So what one's on a Thursday?
The first time we ever opened was on Sunday the 5th of July. January.
So why would it change to be in the same?
We do 2 sessions.
Yeah, I know you do.
Okay.
But there's another organisation.
Do you want me to talk to you about this at the end?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I want to know why at the moment you've got 2 events on the same day for the elderly and the people that want to get out. Why do they have to be on the same day? Why can't they be one on a Tuesday, one on a Thursday, one on a Sunday? Guess what? You're getting more of the people looked after in a town. Why have you got to have conflict between 2 different groups? I just couldn't get my head round why they were both on the same day. If you can explain why they are, would be fantastic.
They're not the same thing, they're not comparable. There's 12,000 people live in this town, that's more than enough people to be in 2 places at once. It's like saying we can't
So
have
maybe
2
they could be
actual
in
CAFs in the town.
3
because
places
they
over a whole
compete
week,
with
perhaps.
each other. The notion to me that it's a competition, like my
I'm
personal
not
view
saying
is
it's a
ridiculous.
competition, you're offering the same thing to the same people.
It's not the
in a
same
town.
service.
So can you explain?
And it's not on the agenda, which is why I said it's good to
can we
us.
It is on the agenda because you're talking about arguments
Mr. Allen's
online.
Thursdays was the only day the town hall had a vacancy.
Right, that's all I needed. Thank you, Sam. That's all I wanted to
That was, but on a Thursday,
that's
we
all I
do
want.
offer a
Right,
support
okay,
session
thank you.
where outside
So would
bodies
you
come in and give
think
advice to
if one was on a
residents.
Tuesday, one on a Thursday, one on a Sunday would be better?
Yeah, it would be
There you go,
better,
thank you.
but the
That's all
town
I'm
hall
trying to
wasn't
say.
available on another weekday, I'll find out.
Thank you, Sam.
Anybody more? Any more for any more?
Just want to
Yes.
make one comment. I would not, at the end of the day, bringing it back to the town, I would not want to do your job in any way, shape or form, and I admire you all for doing it. I just want to say a positive on that. I don't come to many meetings. I have worked on the high street for 35 plus years, so I'd like to think that, you know, I do know how the high street works. And it is sad that all of this is being laughed about everywhere. I mean, I had a lady from Wyndham Town Council ring me, and I'm like, oh, whatever's going on. I'm like, I don't know. As a resident, as a business owner, I would love nothing more than you lot to sit in a room and sort your differences out and get this town back to how it used to be ran and how it was. And when we're talking not be looked down or not be disrespected, yes, you do get disrespected by a lot of people, but can we not all try and get back to how it used to be and have a harmonious town? I mean, Sam, look at when we did the bikes.
Yeah.
It was amazing. The whole town came together.
It was really good.
And we had that going for 3, 4, 5 years. It was such good fun. Why can't we get back to that? Why can't we all just, as councillors, stop pulling against each other and start
This
trying
council was like that until very recently, delivering projects, all working harmoniously. There's
And
only
what you do behind the scenes is fantastic. That's what I'm doing. I'm praising you for that because I wouldn't want to do the job that you do and be.
But maybe people should ask what was the dynamic that changed recently.
It doesn't matter what the dynamic
No, that's
changed because
because
that is because it's a lie.
What was it?
Exactly.
No, you've just said it. You've just said it out loud. What was it? You tell us. We're not council.
I have an answer to that. It was when we stopped co-opting, or you stopped co-opting, and the public actually chose who they wanted to sit on this council.
Correct.
Oh no, it was way before the election. It was about 6 weeks before the election.
Why did the election happen?
But my point of the argument is stop.
Yeah, so we need to bottom this out tonight, I think, Sam. So 6 weeks before that election, why did so many councillors leave? I know one was through ill health. Why did the others step down? Mr. Thwaites at an EGM like this was called for pretty much the same sort of thing. His last comment, I remember your comment, Andy, first comment you made to me, the one I remember most was Mr. Thwaites. And he said, and he looked at Mr. Fraser when he said it, he said, I don't know how we're going to stop this. It will either have to be libel or slander. He said, if not, we will all be tarred with the same brush. That was the last thing he said at a council meeting before he stood down. So maybe you need to ask why these councillors stood down and why people asked for a public vote. Thanks.
I actually think that the reason that ex-councillor Thwaites left the council was because of breach of confidence and confidential information that was only disclosed to councillors getting into the public domain. He lost confidence in his colleagues.
It seems to me the comment he made that day, he didn't have confidence in the council at all.
No, he didn't, because confidential items were making it.
It wasn't discussing that. You need to watch that meeting again, Sam, because that meeting was about me talking up and what I was going to say.
Yeah, but that is.
I think he'd already left the council at that point, actually.
That was, he left because twice confidential below the line items made it to Facebook. That was what he was.
How do you resolve all of?
This is what we're trying to get to. How do you get yourselves back together on the same page? How do you get us back on the same page?
Yeah.
Show some accountability.
Can we not just draw a line under everything that's been?
Would love to. Would love to.
I think actually Councillor Westby chaired a meeting and kept everyone behind for that specific reason.
But it obviously hasn't done it.
And something got leaked from that meeting, didn't it? And it wasn't from me. It wasn't from you.
No one's going to sit here and own it, are they? Like realistically, no one owns
it. That kind of behaviour's got to stop as well.
Do you not think this is like playground behaviour?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
And it's so sad because as a council, you all want the same end goal. You all want something in this town to work. You need to sort it. You need to, because as a high street owner, I've lost faith in our council and I don't want to do that. You know, I know the good days. I've been on this town long enough and it is so difficult. Like when you're asked a question, you should have those answers to those questions. Whether it's on the agenda or not, you should have those answers. You know,
she can't come to every meeting with every single answer.
But this is something that's been planned since February.
That's what we're discussing about a forum, Sam.
Yeah.
Surely you've had a forum where you knew the questions that would be asked in the week. People got more time.
Well,
I understand from Sharon's point of view where she said, I'll get
it.
back to you. She's not heard the question. She doesn't know what the public are going to ask.
So just go back to that, when will you have an answer as to when
On the car parks, I need to speak to Larry Gray's Funfair.
See, I have spoken to him and he says he's setting up Friday evening.
Yeah, but I need to know where he's going to set up. Now, you probably know where he sets up.
Yeah.
But I was going to try and work something out where we could keep part of the car park.
Could the Funfair
free.
rides not go around the actual square bit?
Well, that's what I need to talk to him about, because that's exactly what was
So
in
you
my
see what I'm
head.
saying, as a business owner, it's
Yeah.
worrying to think that
Yeah.
car park might close
Yeah.
for the day. I've
Yeah.
still got to pay for business.
That's it. So that's exactly what I was going to talk to him about. But I've definitely done the road closure.
Would you be able to email me or contact the shop to say I'm High Hills Electrical when you get the answer to that?
Yeah,
Because it is beginning to stress me out as a business owner. Is it
I
going
mean,
to
you've
work
got anything like me, I've had the worst year I've had.
It is fucking disgraceful, excuse my French, but and
But
I
that is
do
the high
think
street.
a lot of it is the in-house parking is spilling over onto the streets, and people don't want to come into. We are a joke as a town. People don't want to come into the town. And as a business owner, I want this resolved.
I remember a comment that was made by a councillor not from this area, and he said to me privately, he said it's strange, in other council meetings there's a joke and it starts with Attleborough. That is their joke. Do you want to hear the joke? Attleborough.
Town council.
And they all laugh at it. That can't be right.
No. Yes, no.
Peter Neal will vouch for this. When he was on the council, we could have some quite fiery disagreements, couldn't we?
Very much
but
so.
when we went out the door,
they were resolved.
Wasn't it? It was done.
We would see who would buy each other a drink.
Yes.
We're pulled in the same direction.
Are you all in a ball here, the children's player, and you just throw balls at each other and
Yes.
sorted it all out?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
It's mentioned a couple of times this evening about councillors working together, and there was a reaction to when the comment about the different side of the table was mentioned earlier.
Yes.
It's not helped when the first councillors in the building swap the seating arrangement around when they first get in before everyone else.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, go for it.
When I've got, or we haven't, when we did have our names on a motion with instructions for a complaint made against us, do I want to sit next to those people? No.
That doesn't help.
It does. It does. It does, thank you.
That doesn't
Shows
help.
a divide.
There is a divide, yeah. I'm not making
But you're perpetrating.
Absolutely.
I actually found it refreshing the other councillors.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Neal.
I wish it could be like that, but you know what? It's not.
I get enough of them. Rob says I keep them in their job.
Thank you. Going on slightly from Mrs. Goldsmith's comments about the car park, and in particular the weekend of the carnivals and Christmassy bits, for the want of a better word, and the car park itself. I went into the car park this evening, and a vast quantity of spaces have been railed off already down the bottom end of the car park, which I'm assuming is for the redevelopment of the sports hall. I mean, I don't know how long that's likely to be there. When that's taking away spaces to do that job. With what may happen on that weekend, on that particular that Saturday that Mrs. Goldsmith referred to, just bear that in mind that it's a bigger area with that. I'm assuming that will be the bit that's railed off already will be railed off then and beyond, I can imagine.
I should imagine so, yeah.
If that could be brought into the pot as well, Jim,
Yeah.
I think that would be sensible for everybody to know.
Okay, thank you. Yes, please.
Yeah, just not to go over the same record, but the EGM that we had about someone's conduct, I said to you that this town wouldn't move forward until accountability was given out. As residents, we have seen no accountability. We've just seen doubling down on bad behaviour. It seems to me as if people get upset about residents pointing out the bad behaviour rather than the council dealing with bad behaviour. And I said to you, if it had been the newbies, they'd have been out straight away. And here we go, EGM attacking the newbies because they're not playing the status quo, massaging like the egos. They're actually speaking out, asking questions. That's why this whole farce has happened tonight.
And did you mind?
In my opinion, and I don't need a patronising report.
No. No, we've all got to respect each other's views. We've all got to work together.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Has there been any? Has there been an apology? We can all bury our heads and pretend it didn't happen, but most residents are still pissed off that nothing's been done. You're telling us it's raining, but you're pissing up about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please, next.
I've brought up the subject of respect several times at meetings, and I also agree on tonight's topics. I condemn online bullying behaviour, that's disgusting. But if possibly councillors could go back to basics, like Anna said, we'll need to work together. That's been requested in several meetings and nothing's really changed. If everyone could revisit the code of conduct, in particular Ms Taylor has been yet again disrespectful, patronising towards her fellow councillors this evening. You can't really say you want to move on and all be united and speak down to people and be completely disrespectful as you have been this evening. So perhaps everyone could re-look at the code of conduct, what it involves, how you're supposed to behave, and then possibly people could maybe think about moving on. But as my neighbour has just said, whilst there's nothing happening about Councillor Fraser's behaviour, nobody's condoning it. All of his friends of the Taylor family and co are obviously not encouraging him to step down, just carry on as normal. Do we wait for him to get annoyed and drunk and smash another window, or what exactly do we do? We can't expect everybody to just be happy to get it down.
He's still employed by the council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Smith. Mr. Smith, sorry. Ex-Councillor Smith.
Apologies, I was very late to this meeting, so I don't know if this has been covered or not, so if it is, correct, please. The code of conduct was mentioned, I heard it just mentioned now. Can I confirm, which councillors here believe this code of conduct applies to their just their time at the council, in the council chamber, and which councillors feel that this is something with the Nolan principles that applies to them at all times? I'd just be interested to know.
Any views?
I mean, by all means, you know, is this something that you feel applies to your working time as a councillor in all the things you do, or is it only when you're sat around the table?
Personally, I feel it's 24/7. But that's my personal opinion.
So there you go. Show of hands, who believes it's 24/7?
I do, but I was told that's old-fashioned.
It's what's enforced by the monitoring officer, so actually the procedure is that it doesn't apply all the time.
So for those that didn't put their hands up, then I say you believe it's just whilst you do this. And the second thing, it's just something I've noticed. Talk about respect. Some councillors during this public participation have been glued to their phones, texting. I don't know what they were doing, but it's not respectful to the public. Thank you.
Councillor Dolan.
I've been monitoring the time. We went over the 10 minutes.
I know.
And I was actually finding Mr. Allen some information that I'd said I would give him before you arrived. So, but I also do go through my agendas on my electronics, which I have said before. But while we are addressing Councillor Fraser, there is no mechanism legally within the law that we can make him step down. Trust me, the very next day, when Mr. Allen actually contacted me, bearing in mind I wasn't even there, I was in bed, I condoned Councillor Fraser's behaviour. I still condone Councillor Fraser's behaviour. I condemn it, yeah, I condemn it. I condemned it then, I don't condone it.
You talked to me for a week.
I didn't speak to him for well over a week. However, there is no legal route that can be taken to punish that. So when residents keep standing up and keep banging that drum, there is nothing we can do, even if we wanted to. That's why we've done nothing, because there is nothing we legally can do.
I mean, have you asked him?
Can I just ask one very small question? I don't expect him to resign. I don't want him to resign at the end of the day. I don't know you, madam. But there's one word you could have said, two words you could have said. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I think all of this would have gone away.
In his defence, and he didn't want me to say this, he sent me a private message, and I showed it to my mother. This is after the court case.
Right.
And I said to my mother, do you think that is sincere? I thought it was, as she did. To me, I haven't spoken about Mr. Fraser since. That was enough.
But as a
I do believe
I'm really sorry I
if
did that
you could have apologised to the town.
You haven't even got to put on social media, just in a meeting,
But
don't get
can I ask, as the victim, if that's all right, are you prepared to draw a line under it?
I have drawn a line.
Right. Let's move on then. Let's move on then,
This is
please.
the thing, and I don't think the town will, which is really sad, until you just said, look, hold my hands up, I was a twin.
That will make a difference.
It would, I think. I
Trust
think
me, Stephen,
it would. It would, honestly, on my life it would. All you'd have to say is, like, I was a complete idiot, I've sorted it out with Mr. Allington, hold my hands up, what a twat, I'm
He
sorry.
did that in court.
Yeah, but not everyone was in court, were they?
No, hold on, I was in court. And Mr Fraser's brief told the magistrate he had apologised. At that point, he had not apologised to me. He had not. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He hadn't apologised to a town. His brief said that he had.
Yeah, but he pled guilty.
I think he's got confused when I was in the police.
Well, maybe he got confused.
I said I apologise.
But that's all you've got to come out and do at a meeting, is just say, look, I hold my hands up, I owe you.
If I thought I made a difference, I think I would have done, but I think one thing I had
make a difference to a lot of people, I
that is
think.
what I wanted to get.
Yeah, I think it would make
Okay,
a lot of
I think
difference.
we've-
It would go a long way.
Run that.
Sorry, really relevant to the agenda items.
Yeah, one more.
It was mentioned a couple of times of how as councillors you can stop the bullying or do anything about it. One of the things actually that you can do, and I'm going to drag you into this, Sharon, is like when things are being targeted at Sharon, the memes are coming up, as councillors that engage in whatever groups they're being posted in, you can challenge that. You can say, you can post on there, we don't agree with this, and you can contact the admins, sorry,
Exactly.
Richard,
No, that's exactly what I was
and
going to
say. We don't agree with this content, this is bullying, can we have this removed? It doesn't help, and I'm sorry to drag you into this, because I do, and not having to go at you, but I do think there is a lot of negativity and inappropriate content on the group.
I would say,
But when there is councillors that are engaging in the group and not condemning some of that activity, there's your problem.
What I was going to say is, if all of you get together, if you want, I will meet up with Andy over coffee, like adults do, and he can tell me your concerns about that site. You don't have to say them now, you can tell me every concern you've got.
I'm happy to do
If I
that.
can't address that.
It would have to go to a meeting for us
Yeah,
to
yeah.
review.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't go on your own.
But actually,
There's
I'd
no
rather just speak to Andy because he's our
Yeah,
mayor.
but no individual
It doesn't
council
work
can
like
speak
that.
on behalf of council legally.
So why do you keep putting obstacles in front of easy solutions?
Well, no, I just said he can come, but it would have to be two, or you could come in, or...
Well, we could actually speak to Andy before he met up.
Exactly.
Well, actually,
and we could ask him, obviously, to speak on our behalf.
Just a minute, Sharon wants to say
I just
something.
wanted to ask a question. When such a comment comes up on your site, do you have to approve it first?
We recently we've had to, yes.
But you didn't in the past?
I didn't in the past. The thing is, Sharon, if you know me, I am not very
Because
computer savvy at all.
those things are getting worse lately, so therefore...
You can believe this or not, I post on there as myself.
I know you do.
I don't hide behind anything. And what I normally post is fact. It is not bullying anybody. Read every comment I've ever put on there.
Yeah, I'm not...
What other people post on there, I don't see how we censor free speech. I understood when Tracy phoned me, she was very upset. And you can believe me or not, I'm a busy man in the day, I hardly ever look at Attleborough. You might not believe that. I hardly ever get involved. And if you can speak to my admin, there's a lot of times I can say, I've had enough of this, I don't need it. I do not need this in my life. But when you've got anonymous people that post and they say the stuff they say, like I said, we see who these people are. A lot of these people that post have an axe to grind with certain people. How they express that is wrong. But are they not allowed to express it? It's, like I said, you were saying to Andy, if you've got your heads together and said what it is that's offending you, because, I mean, honestly, Sharon, you could have picked the phone up to me the same as Tracy did. And all I do, I just put, one of the admin puts it in there, I'll give them a list of words that relate to you. Your name, what you are, the clerk. All that stops. No one can comment on it. It's not allowed. But unless people give groups feedback, everyone's in a position. We can stop it, but
even your own admin, whoever Graham Green is constantly targeting her, even using the hashtag Sharon, are you watching?
Well, you'll probably not believe this. When I started that page, there was one admin called Anonymous. She told me a story about how she was treated by certain members of this council. This is why she was anonymous. She was a victim. I'll put it that way. I needed somebody. Mr. Green come on board because he hates bullies, believe it or not. Who is he? None of your business.
So you know who he is?
I know him as Graham Green, that's as much as I know.
But in making him admin, you give him that kind of responsibility of, it's a micro community.
100%, but like I said, I am not computer savvy.
No.
And when it took off, it was very difficult for me to manage. Because I just asked for help, right?
But you give power to someone who you don't actually know.
Correct.
Yeah.
See, I find it weird, and again, I don't do much Facebook, mainly business. If you don't like something, don't follow it. Like it. You don't have to.
But not liking it doesn't make it appropriate.
No, but if you don't see it, I would say if I don't see it, if someone wants to slag me off, that's fine. If I don't see it, it doesn't hurt.
Don't worry, Anna, I don't see it. And half the people in this room I've blocked, so I don't see what they say either.
As a community,
But this is it, if I don't like something, I don't read
literally
it.
why
Why are you beginning to read it if you know it's going to come off the page? Don't read it.
Well, I get it. It's our responsibility. Everyone's responsibility.
Everyone's
I agree what you say about something like
This is no longer public.
but it's the same as who run the sniffing hotel.
No idea.
And that was one of the most toxic sites ever been created by anybody.
I think we've run that one to death. Yes, please.
Can we just all agree in this room, bullying's got no place in society?
Yeah.
Can we just all agree that? Because there seems to be a lot of anonymous people saying stuff, all this. Can we just agree bullying's got no place?
But that's what these agenda items are about. That's what the council should be voting on.
Bullying's got no place whatsoever. Does that make sense? It's as simple as that. Whatever side you might be on, there is no bullying. Does that make sense? As simple as that.
Look at the councillors. 100%
I think
agree.
it's more than just the councillors, young man.
Councillor Allen, one last thing.
Just very quickly, I know Mr. Allington said about having a chat with you in private. If we're not all councillors 24/7, as the chairman of Brecon believes she's not councillor 24/7, I'm sure Mr. Allington.
Did I actually say that?
You didn't put your hand up.
She's also not sat here in that
And I'm not here as so and I keep trying to put that out. When I'm sat at this table, I'm a town councillor. It is nothing to do with
that's fine. I'm just
and you should be left at the door.
But you are
where I
very
leave
friend.
it. That is where I leave it.
Anyway,
because here I'm summoned as a town
I'm
councillor.
sure if you wanted to have a chat with Mr. Allington, I'm sure no one would object to that.
No.
Because you wouldn't have to do it as the mayor. Because you are allowed to go and see people.
Yeah, he just can't speak on behalf of the town.
Exactly. And I wouldn't be.
No, he's giving feedback from councillors to me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, on that note then, I'll draw the meeting to a close.